for sitting down with me. I just got to tell you, Bob had us over and I saw your testimony. And I told you this, the discipleship thing, I have not stopped thinking about that. Now, there was a lot of impactful things you said to us. Somebody that lived a semi-charmed, kind of comfortable life. Some of those things pierced me a lot. But as a believer, the thing that hit me was how much what you did mirrored what I watched Jesus do. It's like, this is what I went home and I told my wife, who couldn't be there, I said, there's no way to cheat discipleship. You just got to do the work of discipleship.
It's either you do it or not.
Yeah. And I think that there's been all this attempt in my life as I've followed Jesus in churches and programs and stuff of like, hey, we want to be disciples, but we want to get around the heavy lifting. And what I heard you say, at least, is there is no getting around the heavy lifting. There's car rides. Apparently, if I'm hearing this correctly, that's how he sits before me.
Spending time together in the home. Yeah, everything. It's a life. Discipleship. It's definitely a life you live together with somebody you invite into your own life. So you spend time with, you eat meals with, you work with, you study the Bible with, you pray with. The person knows a lot about you in the process. You know a lot about him or her in the process. This is how it works. You're just living as you go. You teach. And some people even call discipleship friendship with a purpose.
Oh, I like that.
It's
like
like you develop this relationship with the person which is intentional. You know why. You befriend this person and you are spending time with this person with a purpose. It's maturity in Jesus Christ. So this is where we are going, and everything we're doing it so that we can get there. This is what it is.
I hear you say that again. You know what I think to myself is I could hear Jesus saying, look, this is a non-negotiable for a believer.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like we don't like hearing those things, but it really is. It's like it's costing us more than what we want to give. Our time, our space, I also think I left, I said, Kelly, if we were practicing discipleship the way this guy was our children would be a byproduct benefactor of this, because all this, you
Definitely.
2 for 1.
Yep, definitely.
Right?
This is what it is.
Yeah.
They get to be a part of it because it's your life. This is what you're doing. This is what they get to watch. This is what they are a part of. And once they are there will be some growth happening. I like to talk to you because you just hammer what it is. In fact, Jesus,
I've been chewing on this cod.
When Jesus was giving the Great Commission, he said, go and make disciples. And there is the baptizing, the teaching, they are all in like present participles in the Greek. The only verb you have that is the main verb in the Great Commission is the make disciples part. And the others, they are what you do as you make disciples. You go, you baptize, you teach, but all of those, they are part of making disciples, because that's the only imperative you have in the whole Great Commission.
Yeah, because if you accomplish that, you accomplish everything.
Yep.
Right? This is the whole enchilada. It's,
exactly.
Let me say something. I don't even know if this is like culturally a difference, but like what I'm noticing among my country and the culture I live in is there is a starvation for community happening everywhere I look. And they might not even say it. Sometimes they don't even know they're starving. It's like a starvation that you're not aware of, right? Mm-hmm. And it's people to know them, just basic community. Like there's such an isolationist. I'm assuming that's not afforded to the average Haitian. I'm assuming that. I don't know that. But in this country, you can just wall everything out. And this is what the answer is. This is what would ignite churches and ignite everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This culture here in the U.S. is different from that of Haiti. Here, as you said, it's easy for people to just pass and don't even look who is next to him because people are busy. But we still have it in Haiti, although we have a different culture.
You still have it.
People live in community. Many people are there, but we have a power distance community. And for me to
How do you say
work
power
with
distance?
power distance, a reality where the person who is in a position, there is there are barriers in front of the person and the other person that he was supposed to
I get it.
influence. That
Yeah.
a barrier that is there has to be removed by the one who is in higher position. Like when Jenkins was a student and I was a professor and dean of student also at the time, if I did not go to him, he would never be able to come to me. And it's just like Jesus did. He went down from heaven, and not only did he come down from heaven, but he goes to people's houses. He goes to the alleys where people live, to their homes, to share a meal with them. It's like he identified himself with the people so that he could live with them and influence their lives, teach them. That's the same thing. In Haiti, if a pastor wants to do the ministry just behind the pulpit, that's what's going to happen. He's not going to influence anybody.
Right.
So you have to be intentional about discipleship in order to do it, because it's gonna be something that goes against the current.
Yes.
Because people have to respect the one who is in power, and showing respect means that you stay down there and you acknowledge the fact that you are not me. You are there. You are not up here yet. You need to work hard to get up here. But for the person who is up here to go down to where the other person is, to join him in his particular context and address issues with him or her where he or she is a decision that you have to make, and you have to beat things that are in the culture to do that. There are times when you would see yourself as the only one person trying to do something like that in the whole context where you are. So you have to be intentional, having strong conviction about it for it to happen. And I've seen Jenkins doing this easily himself, and it's because he was a beneficiary of something like that. The same way it happened with me, because I was discipled by a missionary couple, and I figured, there is no other way. And this is what I did, and Jenkins is doing it almost naturally right now with students at the seminary, the same, because he experienced it also himself.
So this is so cool that you're sitting here, man, because that's the ethos of STEP in like physical form. Like you two are actually, but two things hit me real hard when you said that. Number one, we serve a suffering servant who examples this, and this got him in trouble. Him breaking up these power structures is actually what took him to the cross, like by man's reasons. Now, divine reasons, that was all ordained. But I just find, because he was not the Pharisee, he's screwing with the wrong kind of stuff when he does this, right? And this is so beautiful because it's like the beatitudinal mindset that changes it. So like it's a nice segue into STEP, because essentially I know enough to be dangerous after listening to you. This is like the center of it. This is the center of it, at least in vision, right? So let's talk, because I could lose so many hours to talk to you. I'm gonna have to discipline myself. Let's talk about that. Like, give me like a brief Genesis story of STEP. Like, give me, I don't know anything. I didn't hear your. What are we talking about?
STEP Seminary began as a Bible institute in Haiti in the 1940s by American missionaries and one Cuban missionary who were working together to develop that Bible institute to help pastors be trained for the churches in Haiti who did not have higher education at the time, but people with elementary levels who would need to study the Bible. So it was that Bible Institute, and developed. It was men and women at some point that they were getting also to train to serve God in the church. And at the time, for some reason, the gospel was preached only to people who did not get too far in school. Those who went far in school, who could read well, who had higher education, the gospel was not really for them. This is a tradition that we had in Haiti, unfortunately, at the time. And
But that's interesting. That's fascinating.
it went on from 1942 all the way to 1981. It was in 1981 that one Haitian who went to Dallas Seminary graduated and returned to Haiti to the school. It was EEB at the time. It was not called STEP. It was called EEB. It was a school of Bible. Now, he started this program for people who would need a bachelor degree now in theology
Right.
in 1981.
Right.
So we ended up with two different schools on the same campus. The EEB was still in existence for people who didn't have high school education,
Right.
and then STEP Seminary for people who had high school education. When it first started, they had 8 students in the first cohort they had. Now we have classes of 70 in the bachelor program at STEP Seminary.
Are there are there still 2 tiers? I'm sorry.
No.
No longer.
In 1997, there was a fusion of both schools into STEP Seminary. So now we only have only one school that is called STEP Seminary, and STEP Seminary has different programs.
Got it. Yeah. Which is very similar to a model.
We do have a bachelor program that we continue to have since 1981 with a lot of people in it, with men and women. We have a women's course, which we offer to wives of pastors and church leaders, wives and fiancés also of current students of the seminary who get trained so that they can help their husbands in ministry, which is a program we offer on Saturdays. And then we have a diploma program. We still have a diploma program that we offer during summertime. 2 months intensive. We offer that to people who are serving in churches with no education.
The word diplomat only meaning not as I would understand diplomat.
It's diploma.
Oh, diploma.
Diploma. It is.
Got it. I misunderstood. I was thinking.
It is less than the bachelor degree, less credit hours for this degree that they take during summer times. And we have another program. It's a lay leaders program, which we take to the people where they are located in the countryside. They don't have to come to the seminary campus. This program goes to them. And we have a lot of graduates of STEP Seminary that are helping those people to get some tools, because there are churches, those lay leaders, they are the ones doing the church.
Yeah.
So they get some tools through that program so they can do the ministry.
Who is the gentleman
better.
that traveled with you, Wawa, that I met at Bob's house? He's an engineer. Mark.
Oh, that's Mark
So
Lewis.
he told me something. I'm listening to this now. Smear is becoming a clarity in my mind. I'm listening to this guy, and he's telling me a little bit about the Genesis story. And did you guys like this model of mission? Well, I don't know the people who planted this in the 40s, right? But it's a revolutionary model in regards to missions, because I know that there's a Pakistan school. He told me about that. Uses this model where instead of like trained theologically, all the check marks, go and then do. Instead, the investment is build up there and send there.
Yes.
So it's like revolutionizes the mission
Exactly.
perspective.
So we do a combination of things. We have people who have to be trained at the bachelor level to bring them to the campus, but we manage to do with the discipleship idea, the training with students in the bachelor program being in classrooms, but we do a lot outside of classrooms as well, because we've got to disciple them in the process.
Right.
If we were to do everything in classrooms, discipleship would not really happen. And Jesus didn't give us that model either.
No, right. That's very impactful.
It was
Yeah.
walking around, living
Driving
life,
a
like
trip.
traveling on the
Yeah.
on the Lake of Galilee with them on boats, going to people's houses to heal somebody. They are witnessing him at work. They would be sitting somewhere, the teaching happens, and as they go traveling together, they ask questions about what was being taught that they didn't really get when he was teaching the whole crowd. This is what it was. So this, in order to recreate that, we crafted a mission for Step Seminary linked to the vision. The mission is to prepare godly Haitian leaders to make disciples of Christ, to transform their communities to the glory of God. So this is something that we are doing with the end result as being the glory of God. But before you get there, there is community transformation. And the community transformation is to be done by disciples whom Step Seminary graduates develop. So the Step Seminary students have to be discipled in the process so that they can turn around and disciple people who will transform communities to the glory of God. It's like walking
It's
back.
insanely cool. Listen. As I'm thinking about this, like even if you're doing your discipleship classroom stuff outside, you get an audience of the discipleship. You get so much more, which is clearly why Jesus did that. And then he ends up toppling Rome with this model because the prisoners all get saved. Everybody it's like goes off like a grenade and everybody gets saved. Whereas if you're only doing it, it's really inspiring to me, man. Because so often, all of my educational pursuits, I've always been cloistered. Everyone, no exceptions. And I think, unfortunately, this is presumptive of me. I'm sure not everybody's not doing this, but the church kind of in the West has followed in suit. When we want to train, we train within these buildings, and you know what I mean? And not exampled by Jesus. Not example.
Unfortunately, you end up with people who know a lot. In the word, they know the Bible well. They can handle it well. If they are teaching, they would teach. You would hear good theology.
Sometimes,
but a lot is lacking in the transformation process of people.
Practical
We end up
aspect.
with shallow Christians.
big time.
Because the knowing is not really the Christian life. The Christian life is you need to know, but you need to understand how it translates into everyday life.
Oh man,
It's not something you talk about.
Like
The
a
Christian life
surgeon.
is not something you talk about.
No.
It's something you live out. In order to live it out, you need to understand. But after we talk about it, we need to go there and apply. And this is
Well,
how it is.
I've-
Jenkins was about to say
let me.
something else.
I'm sorry, man. So you are an example of this in practice, right? And then I gleaned just intuitively that they're grooming you to take the baton, right? Is that what's going on? At least.
Don't even mention that. You will scare him away.
Oh, right.
Yeah, God knows.
Yes. And I agree.
Yeah.
But like as you're the fruit of the tree.
Yes, I can say that, and you can see it, and many people can see it as well. And we thank God that Jesus did not just come and share his knowledge, but he showed us how to live it out. And this is what we are trying to do at STEP. This is, in general, what we do in our practical, in our everyday life. Because personally, I believe that people cannot grow outside of a context of relationship. Because the relationship allows people to see, to hear, and to do. And this is why this is what I saw in Professor Wawa, and this is what someone started doing at our church, but not exactly the same way. But when I came to STEP, I saw it. I saw what Wawa was doing. I said, definitely, this is what I was looking for. And
Had you seen something else prior to that? Had you seen?
Yes, I've seen something, but the other person did not do it.
I understand.
I would say in a mixed level, academic and practical level,
Right,
because he was a lay leader at our church. He had a lot of influence on me and other people. But when I saw that while I was teaching, and he was showing people how to live out what he was teaching, I said, definitely, this is it.
This is
And
it.
yeah,
See,
and
I didn't even know.
yeah, because when you come, everyone can see that there's
Yes, they
something
can.
different here.
Yeah, it cuts through
Because
the noise.
other things, you see them in class, but outside of the context of the
Right.
four walls,
Right.
there must be something practical that can help people to display in their lives how it looks like to be a Christian.
Yes, yes. You know, and again, just Jesus. You got like the Jews are seeing the synagogue leaders, the Sadducees, the Pharisees are just wah 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 wah, and then here this Messiah is just cutting through all that like a knife with discipleship and being with the poor and breaking all the rules, and this is what causes people to follow him. It's not the academic. In fact, I would argue some of the academic Christians I know are the quickest to leave the faith because it's all head and not it hasn't
heart.
obedience
Not
from the
heart,
heart
Not
flows.
part of it. Yeah, this is the danger there. When it's you approach your walk with God just with head knowledge, it doesn't sink in. It doesn't go all the way to where it was
Yes.
supposed to go. It's just always in the thinking. As soon as you get other thoughts, you start doubting anything. You
Yes.
start becoming
Yes.
weak. But when you have an intimate relationship with God, you have something to fight against any doubt that would come because you experienced God in the
Yes.
process of walking with him, not just trying to understand who he is and know things that you can just give back to somebody if you were to recite Bible verses.
Right.
But it is head, the knowledge. I have one of my former professors, leader at Gordon Cornwell, wrote a book that is called Head, Heart, and Hands. And this is how you walk with God. With the head, you know the word of God, so you are not guessing what
Yes.
God would
Yes.
say here. You know
The
it.
living word tells us.
You know
Yes.
it. That's why we study in classrooms. And it goes to the heart, and it's when you create that atmosphere for students and leaders to guide them into that experience with God. You talk to him, you pray, and you connect with God to contemplate his face. And this is something that happens a lot when you study the Psalms in
Yes.
the Old Testament.
Yes.
And you connect with God in those things. You contemplate who he is there because he is described in amazing ways in the Psalms, wonderfully well.
Yes.
And then hands is the practice, what you do, as Jiken said. The hands have to be part of it. You put your hands to work for God to apply the principles that you
It's a
learn
great
and through
t-shirt.
the connection that
Heads,
you make.
heart, hands. You
and
guys should-
hands.
that's
It's-
great. I
this
love
is what
that.
it is. And discipleship is the only place where it can happen. Because if you were behind the pulpit, whatever you teach, it's on the people to decide what they are going to do with it when they go home, and there is no guidance. And you're waiting for them to come back on Sunday. And if they come back on Sunday, you give them some more to go with, and it doesn't work that way. You need to make sure that day by day there is a certain accompaniment, a certain guidance, a certain shouldering
Right.
each other. This is
The bride of Christ.
discipleship.
Yeah. You know what verse pops into my head as I hear you speak? Revelation has a verse that says, "You on that day you will defeat the enemy by the blood and by the power of your testimony." Right. So it's like these are real weapons, first of all, and then I think to myself, this obedience from the heart into the hands thing, I feel like even as you're talking about this is just so missing from my faith up until now. Like, and it's cultural in some ways. It really is cultural. It's like, because this affects your church body and your family, because if you're not living like this, and it also made me think of at Eden, the enemy of our souls attacks the head,
Yep.
right?
Makes you think, makes you doubt.
Yeah. Are you, did he really say, that was an attack on your intellect.
Exactly.
Yeah, we don't even think of that vulnerability without it connecting to the heart. How we're just like vulnerable, Yeah. So okay. So step and all of this, if you've watched so far and you don't know this, all of this is being done in the harshest imaginable circumstances that literally I've ever heard. And I was in the U.S. military, and I've been to some pretty horrible places by way of like violence and things that are like difficult to see. What you were describing, I've never seen. So all of this is happening in that soil.
One thing that is good for us in Haiti, I believe God knew that those things that are happening in Haiti right now, they were going to happen. So he prepared us. At some point, we sat down with the guidance of Mark Lewis, whom you mentioned a while ago, to go back to our mission and look at it again, and vision to look at that again, to see what is it we say we exist for. And we looked at it word by word. And in the process, we all fell in love. We didn't craft the vision of Step Seminary. I was going to school at Dallas Seminary when it was crafted. 1997, they began, and I returned in 2002 and found it already put together. When we looked at it, we didn't change anything in it, because we say, we can embrace that and live our lives for that, accomplishing something like that. And at the end of my life, looking back to see that this is what I lived my life for, I would have no regret. And this is how we all are embracing the vision of the mission of Step Seminary, and it gives us power. It gives us strong conviction to keep going even though things are bad around us. Haiti, as we speak right now, doesn't have a government that is normal government.
In the West, we'd call it a failed state, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
because we don't have any elected official in Haiti right now. Even one we don't have. Imagine that.
I can't.
We don't have a house in Haiti. We don't have a Senate in Haiti right now. We have a justice system that is in disarray. It's not working. We don't have a president in Haiti right now. We don't have mayors that are elected. We don't have anybody elected that is serving the country. We just have chaos all over the place. And because of that, we have gangs that are developing everywhere around Haiti, and they are the ones ruling the country, to the point where people are saying it looks like the prime minister who was nominated is part of it, because he never speaks against them.
Right.
He never tries. Our police is corrupt. We have a police chief who is there. He doesn't do anything to change that. We are in a situation where gangs would kill police officers and take the uniforms, and they are wearing the uniforms. They take the police cars
To muddy the water even further.
It's like you don't know when you're dealing with true police officers or fake ones, because the gangs, they wear police uniforms and they are driving police cars. This is what we have going
And then you
on
said
in
when you were
Haiti
talking
right
about,
now.
like in areas, different gangs, not even the same gang,
Yeah,
which would be some sort.
different pockets of gangs everywhere. This is how it is. And people can't go from one place to another without a lot of fear that you may not make it back home. It affects everything beside gas crises that we experience every now and then. And transportation is affected. Goods to be transferred transferred from one place to another for people to find is difficult. And you see inflation in the country. Anything you need, you have to spend a lot for it, and you're not making money. We are in a situation where most of the factories that were located in Haiti for people to get a little job here and there moved to the Dominican Republic because they can't invest in a reality like that. And that's what we're dealing with. But still, we see students applying to come to seminary so that they can serve the church. And we continue to provide the setting for them to be trained, because we believe that the only hope that Haiti has is what Step Seminary is trying to provide. Leaders, trained, well discipled to serve the church so that the church can be strong enough to address the issues that the people are having. This is what keeps us going.
And I can't help but think, as you're saying this should be maybe heard as a premonition for all believers. Think about it, no matter where you're living, this maybe not ever to the extent, but this could happen to your normal, and yet to still think of the kingdom in that. You know what I mean? In fact, sometimes, this is such an insensitive thing to say, but sometimes I wish my own nation did get shook. Like, shaken, because what's the word say? The word says, only what is built on the rock will stand, right? And I'd like to think, as I'm hearing you, that Step's going to be the one that stands after the chaos washes through. And I know that sounds like pie in the sky thinking, but I also think it could be true. I mean, it's like the only hope in something like that would be this. It's the only thing that has the power to even, like, the plots of man can't.
Yeah, whether it's me, whether it's Dickens, whether it's anyone we have on the team back in Haiti, we stick to it because we believe that God is using the ministry of Step Seminary to provide something that the Haitian society needs, which is leaders trained who can serve the church so that the church can play the role of salt and light in this kind of society.
Yeah, I totally agree, because if I did not believe it this way, I wouldn't be in Haiti.
Yeah, I mean, neither of you men would have to stay there.
For one, we can come to the States whenever we want. And another thing is that I was living in the USA from 2017 to 2021. So I went to Dallas Seminary. I graduated, my wife and I, and there was TPS. TPS is temporary status permit, something like that. And we said, we are not going to waste our lives here. We are not going just to consider our comfort here and let our people suffer over there. And while God entrusted us with a mission, we need to be there with our brothers and sisters in order to encourage them, in order to get on board, to continue to train leaders that will address these things in the society. Because definitely, if there is no one to set the I would say, I don't find the right word. Anyways, there must be someone, to set the standard.
The redeeming, yes.
Yeah, so that the work of the gospel can keep going on, because we believe that the light will never flee in front of the darkness. The light must be there for the darkness to go away.
Listen to me. First of all, I have to tell you this before I say it. Your English is incredible, both of you. And second of all, I have so much respect for you. My wife and I, after I left that meeting, we are going to become a family that supports the ministry. So I want to say that to the people that hear this video, I want to really challenge you just to contemplate the fact that I know you two men enough to know that the intellect that you wield, the gifts that God's given you, those commodities play very well in the West, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to convince me that you're doing this. Your life is an example. And I think I think conviction is important to the believer, and I think conviction should wash over the believer when they hear this. Mm-hmm. Because, I mean, quite frankly, I spend a lot of money on stuff that is just ridiculous. That's just a fact. And also, just if your heart is for the kingdom, I'm so tired of seeing chaos, and I'm so tired of watching the enemy win. I want to take ground. Yeah. I want to be offensive, and I think Step provides that opportunity for people. I really believe that's true, and so many brothers and sisters in Christ exempling courage, bravery to shake us out of like a trance, an apathy, a blindness, a complacency that is all around me. I'm just so tired of that, guys. So I'm just moved by it. I'm really encouraged to meet you guys. I think I'm really excited because I think my church is going to become a partner. In fact, I know that. I might have to cut that out for
Thank you.
timing's sake. I don't know if I've gotten out in front of the skis, but I happen to know the head pastor. all that to say, guys, I hope it's not the last time I talk to you about this ministry. I know my church will be encouraged.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, awesome. Anything I missed? Boilerplate. I know that sounds weird. Can you how does someone get in touch with the ministry? How does someone help the ministry in regards to webs and graphics and all that stuff? I'll place that on the screen as you speak. But what are we talking about in regards to the practical? Obviously, the believer should hit their knees and be praying for this ministry and this nation. But what practically can a believer do?
Yeah, given what we have already shared, as you said, Brock, we don't even need to ask people to pray. if anybody understands what we are going through, just said, they will definitely pray for us. We are in need of prayer because only the power of God can help anybody strive, keep moving forward to do this kind of work in a particular setting, like the one we have in Haiti. So please pray to help us. Definitely, it's obvious also that financially we need help.
Yeah.
And anybody whom God has blessed who would want to do something for Step Seminary, we have avenues for this to happen. And Bob Ebersol, who is not too far from where we sit here.
Bob's a good friend of mine now.
He is a board member of Step Seminary. So my boss also as a board member. He is one who can give you anything you need.
It attends our church as well.
Yeah,
it attends our church.
Which is wonderful. Here at Encounter, people would have access to Bob Ebersol. He would provide all the details that somebody needs, whether you need to give online, he would tell you how.
And that website is? What's that
Our
website?
website is www.stephaiti.net. I'm sorry, stephaiti.net,
I'll put it
which
right
is Step Seminary, but the website to give is crossworld.org.
One more time.
Crossworld.org. And there, people who are giving would have to write STEP the memo line.
I got it.
Because Crossworld receives gifts for other organizations and individuals as well. So you have to put STEP, STEP, and that's going to go for Step Seminary.
Got it.
But otherwise, Bob Ebersol can provide all those details about checks. See if somebody wants to write a check or give something to Bob, it will go to Step Seminary. Definitely.
And while I want to piggyback on this, I work with a couple mission organizations. What I really know about your organization is what would really be a blessing, I know, and I'm going to ask my brothers and sisters in Christ to pray about this, is to commit to ongoing commitment because, one-time giving is useful and the Lord blesses it, but they can put infrastructure in place, make commitments to students, do things like that. That's the real sustainable model in ministry, and something I hope to be a part of.
You're teasing me to say
I'm
something.
Building. Yeah.
It costs us around $3,000 to train a student for a year at Step Seminary. So if somebody were to sponsor a student, that person could give $3,000 right away to say, I'm sponsoring a student and here it is, or could give $250 a month.
Right.
And for 12 months, that's it. So that also can happen. So recurring gifts would be very much appreciated if somebody would adopt STEP as an institution, as a school that you would love to support and encourage for years even. You just embark with us and you would not regret because you will be part of something big.
Yes.
Something wonderful that the Lord is doing.
I agree.
In the Caribbean island of Haiti.
Yeah, you would never imagine that what you're giving is training leaders for many churches in the country. And you cannot imagine how many people will be touched by the ministry of those leaders and how many other leaders that they will multiply. And when you get to heaven, I don't know if God will tell us the things that
no,
we've
so
given
beautiful
for,
thought.
but you would be amazed to see, hey, you see that leader, he touched
Yeah.
1,000 lives
Yeah.
or 10,000 lives, and you contributed
That's
in order
great.
to train him for the kingdom.
You make me
Spoken-
think about this song, I Am So Glad You Gave.
Yeah, yes, this is a great song.
And Step Seminary has students that are missionaries outside of Haiti also. We have 5 Step graduates serving in Senegal, in West Africa, as missionaries. That mission sending organization that we put together in Haiti is backing as they are serving over there. So STEP has impact not only in Haiti, but here in the States, in Europe, in South America, Latin America, and in Africa.
How moving to hear that said from the mouth of the exact person that has manifested itself in both. Yeah, so true. So encouraging, brothers in Christ. Thank you for
Thank
your
you
time.
so much,
Thank
brother.
you, guys.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.